Hi. So I've been working a lot. This job at the Shake Shack is 5 days a week, which is why you haven't gotten a video recently. So far, I've learned how to make milkshakes and how to do like the beverage tasks. And I've been what they call bun three, which is the person on buns who's like buttering it and then putting it in the machine to toast and then passing it along, and sometimes putting toppings on and also putting cheese on the burgers. So it's a lot of everything's kind of in a line of people who are doing different tasks, hence called a line cook. But it's pretty cool. And one of the things that's cool about it is that anytime I'm like bringing out a physical product for what I do, which isn't the case in like a lot of the work I've done, which is like interacting with people. And it's actually kind of a relief to not have to interact with customers and not have to like do the emotional work of like being chipper all the time, which might sound ridiculous coming from me, but it's interesting. It's kind of like I just like get in the groove of what I'm doing and like I'm interacting with the people in the back, and it's really cool. Um, I'm like one of the only white people who is working in the kitchen, which is um, like says a lot about the like economy and country as a whole, but it's a really enjoyable part of the experience for me as something that's different than Walnut Creek and Santa Cruz. And also it makes me really motivated to learn Spanish because most of the custodial staff only speak Spanish. So hit me up if you want to help me practice that. Yeah, let's see. I've made a lot of mistakes on the job so far, but it's cool because they're pretty supportive. That, like, if I make a mistake, they're not saying, like, what did you do? Or, like, they don't yell at me. It's like, okay, next time, make sure to do it this way. Um, and closing shifts are kind of hard because they're from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m., but then we get off at like 1:15 or 1:30, and then I'm at like the subway station. I like change and then get to the subway station by like 2 a.m. But then like a bus will come sometime between like 1:45 and maybe like 2:20, like because they don't run that fast. And the bus I usually take, which the A train, is an express. Except at night it runs local, so it takes like close to an hour, and then I'm home around 3 a.m. So it's like really late, and then I don't wake up until like 11:30. Yeah. So that's been interesting. But it also is cool because it feels really safe to get on the subway at 2 a.m. Way more safe than it felt to be on BART at night. And it's because like there are people around, and everyone's just doing their own thing and minding their own business. And maybe like I haven't yet experienced a situation where I don't feel comfortable, which is cool. Um, I think so. It's also interesting because I've never had to work a hourly 5 day a week job before. I did the sock shop for 1 month over a summer, but it wasn't a lot. And every other job I've had has been very like camp counselor, RA, like very and even Pure Pleasure was like really about like the customers and like engaging on this different level. And this is about like creating a product, so it's different. And I think I'm gonna have, and like of course, how lucky am I to be able to say that this is the first time I've had to like have like be part of like the wage labor side of the country. But it I think I'm gonna learn a lot about myself from it and about how to like survive and enjoy living, given that like 5 days of the week aren't really my own time, or that part of the day at least. So I knew that it's cool because I knew I'd face a lot of challenges coming to New York that I didn't even challenges that I don't even know what those challenges are going to be yet because they're all going to be new. And with even though I didn't think about it, I think one of them is going to be how to um, work a job and like leave a lot of the privilege of like being in academia, which is what I have been seeking and coming here. But it doesn't mean it's not hard at moments, at times. Um, And I also think it's like an effort to make sure that I am spending the time where I'm not working doing things that I really enjoy. Because partially I need to like recharge and rest and everything like that. But I also like want to make sure I'm seeing the city and seeing people. So it's like balancing how to make sure I'm using my time in a way that I'm going to look back on at the end of each week and be like, okay, I'm really happy with that week, and not like, oh, I just got drained from working working for 5 days. Yeah. So that has been a huge part of my last week. Other things, on days off, I went to this museum called the Frick Museum, which is cool. This guy Henry Frick collected art, and when he died, he donated his house and all the art in it to become a museum. I did that. I got to see one of my aunts who lives in Long Island and comes into work in Manhattan, and we got lunch with her, so that was really great. I met up with one of my best friends from Santa Cruz's best friend from home, just graduated from NYU, so I met her and her boyfriend and one of their friends, and like, so I was in the NYU area, and it's interesting because I've always heard like NYU is like it's not really campus; it's just a bunch of buildings. And I got that, but being there, like we were walking around, and she was like, "Oh, this is like the religion building," and I was like, I didn't even know we were near NYU at all. It just looks like the city, which is crazy and like a way different experience in Santa Cruz, where you have to take a bus for 15 minutes to get downtown. So that was interesting. And also Washington Square Park, which is the park that's right near NYU, is like really pretty. I liked it a lot. So they toured me around like the West Village kind of area, and then like we went into Brooklyn and ate at this like really authentic Italian restaurant, which was cool because I don't think I've ever had really like the building was old, which made the setting feel nice, but also like the two people who worked there like had an Italian accent, like didn't speak standard fluent English. And like I don't think I've ever experienced that with Italian food, where most of the places I've been to in California are very Americanized. So it was a really cool experience for me. And um, yeah, it's been as hot as usual. On last Saturday, I volunteered at a this place called The Door, which is a youth center. And it's really cool. They were putting on their first annual Young People's Peace and Justice Conference. So I was volunteering, and I was just like moving tables around and like putting signs up and things like that. But it was even like really nice to just like interact with the people who were volunteering. Like a lot of them are minoring in gender and sexuality studies, or just like, or their families immigrated here, or whatever it was. Like I could have the kind of conversations that I'm used to in like fem studies classes or with my friends in school, and like I'm reminded that that's a really important part of my time. So I'm reaching out to volunteer more with them to do like tutoring or something, which I'm excited about. So also a big deal on the national radar, but also a big thing in the past few days for me was the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman's case verdict. I kind of the Trayvon Martin's like death, then George Zimmerman's arrest, and everything kind of like the past year or year and a half of it has really followed my own coming into like awareness about more political issues in the country. So it's really interesting to see and to like experience it here in New York by myself and not in Santa Cruz where I'm used to, and still feel like really pulled towards it and like really really deeply upset by it, and everything else has been it's been a really interesting experience for me, and like it feels like a door. It's like the last piece of like my activism and caring about inequalities in the country, really like the door shutting on any other possibility of how to approach things that I care about, and really realizing how much I care about them. And I went and saw this film called Fruitvale Station, which was really good, really sad. Like I was holding back tears. The person behind me was sobbing. The person next to me was sniffling. I was not holding. I was trying not to make the fact that I was crying really loud because it was really sad about this guy who got killed at a BART station. And yeah, it was good. I recommend it on a day where you're prepared to feel really sad. Um, so that's been a huge part, and it's also interesting because when I like transferred at one point in Harlem to a different bus, it was the day after the verdict came out, and no one there was talking about it, even though it was like a really big deal for my activist self. It wasn't. It's like these communities of color like deal with this all the time. Like it's nothing new to them. In a way that it's really a big deal for me, it's not a big deal for them, and that's also been a really important part of my experience with it. So yeah, I'll let you go, but I'll give you another update soon. I'm hanging in there, and I'm excited to hear from you. Please hit me up. I want to keep in touch. Okay, much love.